Hey, welcome back to JKMoto Podcast, a weekly motorcycle podcast for the everyday rider, specializing in club racing, track riding, and great entertainment. This week, brought to you by Working Class Customs.
Absolutely.
Which is a custom fabrication shop out of northern Utah, and you can direct any other questions on that to Cole.
And I'm Cole.
I'm Easton. We are your two favorite hosts of your favorite weekly motorcycle podcast, and we are...
We're in stable 17.
Oh, this is the rolling stable.
Oh, excuse me, rolling stable. I can't keep up with all the stables.
Too many stables. When you're traveling across the country all the time to do track days and everything else, you know,
Right.
gotta have multiple stables.
As you can tell, we're absolutely on the road, having a lovely time at Barber.
Yeah, so we've been at Moto America all weekend, and I'll be honest, this intro is for the podcast, which we filmed yesterday, but that's our secret, so keep it a secret.
Don't tell anybody.
But we just got done with the track day. We will be doing a track review, so watch out for that, but we gotta get our weekly riding tip
Yeah, we got to get that in there. I mean, that's what people are looking for.
and talk about it. So, this week's weekly riding tip, which is brought to you once again by Bittinger Motorsports. They operate out of MSRH. And from Josh Bittinger himself, he says, learn how to use all of your steering inputs and practice them individually. There are many tools to make a bike steer. Body weight off the bike, counter steering, inside and outside of the bar. Inside bar pressure. Weighting the pegs, pulling the inside bar down along its axis, and steering with the throttle are all effective ways of making the bike lean and dip to go left or right. Most of us hop on a bike and just make it turn using some combination of some of those techniques. So if you take your time in the parking lot, or mini motos, or even on a track to practice one of these inputs at a time, once you master them all individually, your brain will naturally assimilate them together when it's time to go fast without even thinking about it, and you'll have better control of your motorcycle than ever before.
How many times do you break those things down, like in your mind? You ride a lot, I ride a lot.
So I'll catch myself, like if I'm out, we'll call it on a heater, right? I'm not really thinking, I'm just going. But there are definitely times where I'm coming in a corner and I'll specifically bring my knee, I'll put more pressure on my knee and bring the bike in, and then I'll sink myself out further. Out on the road, yeah, absolutely, I kind of mess around with that all the time, right? You're just sitting there, you're like, does it actually steer the bike the wrong way? If you push the inside of the bar out, is the bike gonna go to the right, you know?
I'm still trying to prove you can teach an old dog new tricks. I don't know. I mean, all those things it's interesting because if you've been doing it a long time, you're obviously doing all those things. You probably have those tools in your toolbox.
Yeah, 100%.
And it just comes naturally to throw it. But maybe we should all stop, go to the parking lot.
Yeah.
Just check the fundamental.
Yeah, I like that tip a lot. You know, it kind of makes you think for a second, like you're saying, you get in the habit, and like Josh said, you get in the habit of just putting it all together, but if you break it down and master each one, and you can make a bike turn to the left with your knee, or you can make a bike turn to the left by getting off the bike, or the handlebar input, or like actually pulling out of a turn by only using throttle, you know, and getting the bike to stand itself up.
Or if you're in the middle of a race and your arm doesn't work anymore, you can use your knee to go ahead and do what your arm's supposed to do.
There you go. See, well, and I guess mastering it a little bit could help you in a situation like that because your body's got that muscle memory there for, oh, I'm old, my shoulder gave out, I can use my knee now. Definitely a good tip. I like it. Anyway, do you want to change, shower, head outside, and film this podcast? We got some special guests.
We do have some special guests, so very excited. As you mentioned, at Barber, got some guests. You're going to like it. Stay tuned after the break and check it out.
Let's roll that intro.
Yesterday at one point, I was in sixth. Miles an hour.
This is a rated PG-13 show?
PG-13.
Cool.
So we get one F-bomb?
No, that would make it R. PG-13 means we can have sex.
But only waist up.
Only way. Softcore.
Yeah, only waist up.
Waist up sex? Nipple to nipple?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're here to get started, right?
Hold on, I think the PG-13 waist up thing was a perfect way to start this show. So we're going to have the editor cut that portion
In the bloopers.
Just leave it in there?
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're here with the Privateer Industry boys. I don't have a shirt because I'm not cool, I guess. I don't know why, but...
It's working on your tan, it's all right.
Yeah, well, you got to keep it real, you know
Looks
what I'm saying?
good,
But
dude.
this
Looks
is Wyatt. You're racing a Super Sport.
Yes, sir.
Racing an RR6.
Yes, sir.
So you're on the baby bike out of the ones
That's
out
what they
there.
say.
But it keeps up?
Yeah, well, not today, but usually, yes.
Well, I did want to say, I'll get to you in a second, Anthony, don't worry. I think you guys know Anthony, but I did want to say we're here to talk more about your experience getting here. Less about the races. We've had 2 days of racing. We'll get to that a little bit. But I want to talk about, like, you're from California?
Arizona.
Okay. Las Vegas, you race in California. That's a long trip out here to Alabama, so kind of, what it takes to get privateer industries together. Yeah, so just kind of what it takes to get a team like this together. I mean, you guys are privateer racing, but you have a team? Question mark?
Privateer motorsports is what it is. I mean, if you look at the term privateer, it goes way back into ancient ages where it's the few against the many, not necessarily a government agency, but funded by the government, right? Like the original root definition of the term. And it's been a term in motorsports for a long time. You get the guys that have the potential, have the passion, maybe don't have the resources or the funding, and they're chasing round to round. And, sometimes it's making the show as a privateer is all you can really ask sometimes, so anyways, Privateer Motorsports is the team. This year it's a 3-rider team. Myself, Mike Bishop, who is not joining us unfortunately, and then Wyatt here, which I'm super stoked to have him on board for our Super Sport rider because me and Mike both ride Stock 1000.
Yeah. So speaking of Mike, real quick, we can kind of touch on that. I think is that's part of this whole privateer thing, getting across the country and back.
Yeah.
Why is Mike not with us right now?
Well, he's got a flight to catch in about an hour and 15 minutes, and it's a 15-minute drive to the airport, and so he's cutting it close as it is.
Speaking of PG-13, he's washing from the waist down. That's why he can't be here.
It's about time, because I can smell his ass from a mile away. Not at all. Me, on the other hand, I'm not so courteous. They're going to smell my ass. I don't care.
My dad's going to smell me on the drive home, that's for sure.
There you go.
So his bike's down in a trailer, your bike's in a trailer, but you guys are both flying out tonight.
Correct.
So what's kind of the
arrangement?
meat and potatoes behind that? Yeah, how does that all work?
So, even if we had all the passion and desire in the world, me and Wyatt couldn't just go together and race. It's more racing the nationals in Moto America. It's not a club race where you can show up and do it by yourself. It just takes too much effort. And so we had 8 people in the pit, 3 riders, maybe even more at times, and it takes that much just to get through a weekend.
Yeah.
Most of us flew out here.
Yeah, I drove.
Wyatt and his pops drove.
Okay.
Yeah, overnight it switched. I would sleep in the back seat, he'd drive, and then he'd be like, I'm tired, and we'd switch just through the night, dude. Wow.
Well, that's a perfect example of what it takes, man. Because sometimes flights are expensive, or sometimes the timing's not right. So, we have a driver. So we have a driver that transports my truck and trailer across the country, or the team truck and trailer across the country. So, he left Vegas on Tuesday morning, bright and early, had a little drama in the morning, but we overcame that and made it here Wednesday late afternoon. So.
And where's he headed now?
He's making a really quick pit stop back in Vegas, where we're based out of as a team, and straight to Utah for round 2 of the USBA, where you'll find these 2 knuckleheads gridding up for the next round of USBA.
So not only Moto America, you're also still racing USBA.
Got to get our practice in somewhere, man. So we're gonna go out there and do that. Yeah, Utah is a great place, a great organization to practice with, and we grew up club racing, and so there's nothing like a good club race weekend.
Yep.
So we'll continue to do that. Our series, our nationals tour this year is gonna be 5 rounds. So Wyatt rides Super Sports 10-round series, but this year we plan to do the 5 Stock 1000 rounds, give him at least a half a season in the class, and then we'll revamp and see where we're at for next year.
Cool. So you think? It might be too early to get into that, but Privateer Industries is going to make a comeback again next year?
Bigger and better.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So what's walk me through the logistics we can kind of set across, but you get here, your pit's already set up for you, question mark, you guys are still kind of helping out with that?
No, we're a team effort,
Everyone pitches in. As soon as we showed up, Johnny and our driver and everybody else part of the team gets 90% of the stuff laid out, and then Anthony and I, we all just kind of get our stuff arranged just the way we like it,
Right.
So we're all very particular.
Yeah, being club racers, you don't have got your own personal way to do it.
Yes.
Also.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I just witnessed some of that. They're both nervous being here right now because
someone else is putting their bike away.
Yeah.
Hey, that's my bike.
Everything's getting loaded up, and I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but when it comes to loading stuff in the trailer, I'm like, no, that goes 2 inches to the left.
Yeah.
So
Easton's got a friend here at the track, and I think I told you that story yesterday, but I told him, there was I can't remember what class that was. It might have been but somebody had crashed. And when they got off, they were walking through the rocks, picking up all these parts. And I said, that's how you can tell a privateer from a factory racer.
Hey, do you want to make it quick? He's good. All right, sorry.
Everybody say bye to Mike.
Call him a sissy.
So we got mixed up.
No, I was just saying that's the difference between a privateer guy. Cam Bobier, shout out. If he crashes his bike, he gets up and walks behind the wall and waits for the scooter to pick him up, right? But some of those guys that crash out there, they're walking through the rocks trying to see if anything is salvageable. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Clear cut, if you're watching and someone goes back and picks up a piece of plastic and is worried about the bike, make sure they click it off. Probably a privateer compared to...
Yeah, probably don't have a whole trailer full of spares. I mean, most of the teams we're racing against, like, I counted guys for one of the Super Sport teams. They had 7 support individuals, right? So they've got a mechanic, a data engineer, a guy that pulls the tire sticker off the front tire, whatever. Like, they got all this help, and they also have all the parts to either build a whole nother bike, or they might even have a whole nother bike sitting and hiding in the trailer. We don't have that luxury on smaller space and smaller budgets, right? So we're trying to bring as many spares as we can. I know Wyatt, he's traveling in 3-4 tubs, and he brought his own gear bag and a few additional items, and we're doing the best we can for those situations. But if it's big enough, like, that could be a weekend for us, And unfortunately, that actually probably affects performance too, because if you're out there worried about crashing a little bit, you're not going to be able to make it through the weekend if something gets bent, broken, whatever. We're a long way from home.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I got to say, like, I was thinking about it the whole time. I'm like, I can imagine, being in your spot, you're supposed to be, and even you, clear head, ready to race, but at the same time, like, I got to get back and get all this stuff loaded in the trailer, make my flight tonight, or get in the car and drive tonight, or whatever it might be. The big teams don't have to worry about that, so being a privateer definitely has that kind of more edge to it.
And they have a different type of pressure. I mean, you think, I just listened to another podcast, and it was, who was it? It was Richie Escalante, and they were talking to him about being the privateer versus being on the factory team now. And the pressure's different from him because now, like, he's expected to perform. Unfortunately, he's injured, and we can't wait to see him back, Right. But that everybody, like, it's not any harder. I mean, it is harder for us, but it's a different harder than it would be for your factory supported rider.
Different type of pressure.
Yeah, like, I work Monday through Friday, right? You work Monday through Friday. They work Thursday through Sunday. And they're also doing work during the week to make themselves the best possible athlete they can on the racetrack. Right. But, different struggles.
Yeah, then this is their work. So, I mean, if something happens and they get mangled here, their work understands. Not the same for us.
True story. But that also means the loss of a paycheck, so they got to be careful.
True.
But they also have to perform to get the paycheck. So,
yes.
It's just different dynamics being in our position versus being in their position.
Yeah, no matter what, anything that gets in your head other than the line, the throttle, the braking, anything else is smoke. You need to get rid of that. And
So talk to me about that. When you show up, it's not a club race. This is your first time doing Moto America.
This is my second Moto America. I did one last year, just me and my dad, and it was hectic. It was damn near impossible to do with, like, only one other guy helping you. I had a couple of friends who showed up, but it was mainly me and my dad.
Okay.
And so, this is a whole nother game, getting to come and have a team that supports you. Like, it may only be like 6 or 7 of us compared to, 14, 15 of the big teams, but that's a world of a difference, especially having Norton here. As soon as I come in off practices, having him, another fellow rider, to talk to me like a rider and tell me to bucket the up and go, that's something that means a lot.
That's awesome. Good. So this is your first time at Brainerd, though?
This is my first time at
Barber. Thank you. Yeah, Barber, not Brainerd. Sorry, I was thinking about, anyway.
Next one.
This is my first.
So showing up at Barber as your first time here, not your first Moto America race, but I mean, you haven't been doing this for 10 years or anything like that.
No.
As far as just the pressure from a racing standpoint, coming from a club race up to this level, what is that like?
Well, Norton and I were both talking to Mike about this earlier, and a lot of us
editor, sorry.
A lot of us will say things like, oh, you got to just keep a clear head. It's like a glorified club race or whatever, and it may feel that way for some guys, but when you're lining up on the grid and you see the cameras, you see the crowd, you hear the announcer talking, like, it's a lot more pressure. And from the actual performance perspective, like, these guys are not club racers. These are full-time pros. Like, if you've never had your doors blown off, you will here. So it's a whole nother ball game, you know. But once the visor goes down and I start riding, I'm pretty sure it's the same for Norton.
All that goes away.
Yeah, it's all gone. I'm back to racing my motorcycle. Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. That's kind of cool.
Kind of on that note, like I just wanted to shout out the CVMA program that Wyatt did some more of that this year. Mike is accustomed to it. I'm accustomed to it, but we get to ride. I mean, we show up here and it's funny because like half the paddock, we're like, hey, we just seen you this winter for 7 rounds, you know? So it's cool because we know a lot of these guys that we're racing against, and that makes it a little bit more comfortable out there. But at the same time, it's a different world here. Like, this is where people are making their money in racing. Some of them, the professionalism is next level.
Well, that kind of goes to my next question actually for you was, you know, I watched this on TV.
Right.
I'm here as a spectator this weekend. I'm not riding. I'm just here that's why I'm not wearing the team shirt. You know, I get to go around and do all the fun stuff. But is that like weird? And with racing with CVMA, maybe that makes it better. But is it weird to grid up next to a dude that, like, I assume you guys watch a little bit of Moto America at least.
Yeah.
Is it like weird to pull up and be like,
I hate racing motorcycles.
come on?
I'm just kidding.
I can only imagine, like, I see Jake Gagne pulling through the pits, and it's Moto America, which is cool because, you know, I can walk up to Josh Herron and be like, hey, how's it going, Josh, and have a quick conversation. But at the same time, like, man, that's a TV star, right? He's paid to ride motorcycles. How weird is it gridding up to someone that you just watched last week on TV or 2 weeks ago or whatever?
You know, it's funny. Some of the superbike guys, there's some of the guys that, you know, I really look up to as riders and their accomplished careers. And, you know, you get Cam Beaubier. I don't think I've ever said one word to him. You know, obviously I'm not gridding up against him as well currently, but it's all individually based. Josh Hayes, we know, like I talk to him quite often. Jason Pridmore, talk to him quite often. A lot of the guys I'm racing with, I see him and talk to him quite often. I don't think that really gets to me. Racing with guys that I don't race with normally is a little bit more concerning because, like, what are they going to do, right? Like, you guys all pile 5 deep into a corner. Who do I trust to let go of the lever and who's going to hold on to it, you know, stuff like that. But my first expert racing experience, I was row 736 or something like that, and everybody in front of me was guys like Tony Elias raced that race, right? You know, a Brandon Posh, Dave Anthony, you know, the list goes on, and Alex Dumas, like names that you actually don't see in our paddock because they're racing other places in the world right now. But everybody in front of me was somebody who I've watched on TV. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. My leg was shaking. I felt like Mom Spaghetti, right? How the song goes. Yeah, so it can get to you, and it's the objective of the rider to not let that get to your head. We have a job to do too. We're here to do a job. We're not here to lollygag, have fun, and say we did it. So.
Well, I just wanted to add for you, I was thinking about that in your second race. You know, you're out there in super sport, right?
Yeah.
Super sport, it's not the super bikes, super sport, right? But you're out there with Kayla Yakov and PJ Jacobson and Matthew Schultz and Skoltz. And I'm like, man, these are all giant riders, you know?
Yeah.
Big.
Talk about giant riders, Corey Alexander.
Yeah,
I forgot about you.
Yeah, no, actually, my very first race weekend ever as an amateur, like when I got my racing license, was at Summit Point, West Virginia, and I signed up for the wrong practice. I signed up for the 1,000 practice on my 600, and I came around the last turn at Summit Point, and on the paint, a guy blows my door off on a ZX-10, and I go in the paddock. I didn't know anyone.
Did you have doors on your bike?
You know what I mean. It is Yamaha. No, but anyways, I went and talked to the guys, and it was Stefano Mesa. I didn't know who he was at the time, you know, but that was my first exposure. It was my first race weekend ever, and I get my doors blown off by like one of the top dudes, you know? Honestly, ever since then, I love when the faster dudes are, like, blow by me, man. I'm going to try to tuck in and toe behind you for that half of a corner or whatever I can hang on for. So I love it. I love seeing them. And Kayla Yakov, I've seen her. I saw her before I started racing. When I did track days out at some point, her and her dad, when she was like on a 250, you know, like this was like 5 years ago. And she was smoking dudes on thousands on this 250. So yeah, all of them. I love being around the faster riders.
That's how you learn. I mean, if you're sitting on top, there's nobody pushing you. You know, it's really hard to push yourself to that next level, and that's what this is all about. I mean, some of the guys are paid to do this, and some of the guys want to come here and see where they stack up and maybe get presented with an opportunity.
Let's talk about the grids, because we're always talking that Moto America is becoming more and more popular, right? One of the things I noticed, and I know there's more people trying to grid up on the East Coast than there is the West, but let's talk about, I think there is. Am I wrong?
I think that will change this year. I think we'll see huge grids on the West Coast rounds.
Okay.
CVMA definitely gets a good pull out. I came from East Coast, and when I originally came out west, Arizona, New Mexico was where I was racing, and yeah, the grids were pretty small. But California, the grids are pretty good.
But there's a lot of local guys, I think, showing up for various classes trying to qualify. This is their home track. This is what they're doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had to stay home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to shout out Mike Bishop. Wyatt made his Pittsburgh run last year, his first Moto America event, made the grid, so we fully expected him to do so. The Super Sport class was additionally stacked this weekend.
Yes, this was a heavy weekend for Super Sport.
Yeah. Wyatt did his job, made the grid, put on his races. Mike, this is his first attempt at making a Nationals round. And actually in Q1, he made the cut. And then Q2, he backed it up and he made it even better. So Mike, this is his first round, made the grid. He was a little down on himself with his performance after race 1, but I had to remind him that 12 people didn't even get the chance. Right? There's 12 people that showed up this weekend in the stock 1000 that went home. Yep. And there's another probably 15 to 20 in Super Sport that showed up this weekend that went home. So you got to think, I mean, if you finish, they only let 36 guys on track. If you finish 36th, you finished 36 out of 56 people that even tried. Right. And there's a ton of people that, maybe don't feel ready or aren't ready to come and take that next step.
That's another thing that's different about club racing is it doesn't matter how slow you go, you get to grid up in the club race. Right. So finishing last in the club race is different than finishing last out here. Right.
And that's where just sometimes sheer will and passion for a privateer again is what makes the difference, because you drove or flew or whatever across the country to do a practice and a qualifying session and then get told, you're not making.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, is just to express how big of a deal it is just to make this show and how special that is.
Yeah, well, and that's what, when I, in the beginning when I mentioned we don't need to cover the race coverage and whatever, is because when you think about it, you three showed up from the other side of the country, like you just said, and you all qualified for a Moto America race. That's that's a win, 100%. And I got to give it to you guys. You got here, all the bikes were here in one piece, which anything can happen out on the road, right? All of you made it here.
That's why it's a team sport.
Yeah, 100%. All qualified and all raced yesterday and today, both days. And I think bikes are going home in one piece. Going to show up at USBA and then be the next round of Moto America, right?
Yep.
We'll see if they make it out of Utah in one piece.
Yeah.
Well, you seen while Mike was over there, we're down in the pits asking him if we needed to know anything about his bike for tomorrow while we're riding it. And he's like, what?
I already told you can ride that ZX-10 if you got the cojones for it.
Yeah, I know. I ain't gonna. We're gonna unleash the Gixxer tomorrow.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, about making the race or whatever, I got 100 text messages after my performances this weekend that were like, hoorah, right? First thing I did was hang my head. And as a racer, Stacy, my lovely better half, who done so much for us this weekend too, she's an essential part of this whole program. She hates it after a race weekend. I could win the race, I could win the money, I could set a PR, and I'm still like, damn, I could have went faster, or I could have done this, or I could have done that. It's a sickness we have, man. It's a great sickness.
Are emotional creatures.
Very emotional creatures. And so, yes, we made the show. Yes, we put on our best performance that we had in us this weekend. I think all of us are looking forward to bettering our game and showing up at Brainerd a little bit better than we were today.
Yep.
I mean, that's good, right? There should always be a step up. So that kind of brings me to my next point, though, next question. As far as, we got fans that don't race. We got fans that just watch. How important is it for a privateer to still have those fans and for those fans to see you guys and watch you guys? And, where do you think how do you think you guys impact the normal motorcycle fans, if that makes sense? And maybe you don't think about it, maybe whatever, just kind of get your thoughts on that.
I'll let Wyatt maybe share what he's thinking first.
I mean, so a lot of the fans are friends and family for privateers, at least for me. It's not like I'm on national television more than out here for a few seconds while I'm on the grid. But no, having friends and family who message you after your results and are, hoorah, having a good time. Doesn't matter how you finished, they're just cool. They're happy to know someone out here doing this. And that means a lot. I was the same way after my race, hanging my head, and that's how it is pretty much no matter where you finish, because you always think you can do better. As a racer, you're chasing 10ths, so you're always trying to do better. So having people who don't care how well you did, they're just happy to know that you're there and they're just there to support you, good or bad. It's a huge deal. So it's awesome to see people and seeing fans, whether they're my fan or not, like seeing the fans, seeing more motorcyclists who love racing, like that's enough.
I don't know.
Awesome.
It's not very full anymore, but could our camera maybe get a pan of the fans across the way?
It was last year. I was here last year, and I was riding the Altus bike, and I met a guy on the airplane. He fell asleep, and his phone fell out of his pocket as the plane was taking off. Like, he must have had some good stuff in him because he was out like a light. So he was like 3 rows up, and as his phone's sliding down the aisle, I reached down and snag it. So I walk it up to him in a little bit right before we're going to make our final descend, and I tap him on the shoulder, and we got to chit-chatting. So he moved next to me because there was an empty seat, and we were talking the whole way down. The guy is not a motorcycle guy. He's not in the sport whatsoever. But I was telling him about what's going on here. He lives here. He shared some good places to eat around town. Next thing you know, I seen him here on Saturday morning. Brought his grandkid out. We set the grandkid on the bike, and he got to start it, and it's pretty neat when even non-motorcycle people can come out and appreciate the show. Because the one thing I get out of non-motorcycle people all the time, when I show them, they see an Instagram picture or something like that, like, wow, you're crazy. My mom hated that I did the motorcycle thing until they come out and see it. They come out and see how much goes into it, how much we support each other, the love that's within the paddock, the ferocious competition that's on track. And then when we come back in, it's handshakes and hugs and tears sometimes. And, anybody, I get a little bit of chills actually talking about it because anybody can relate to that, right? So my sister and my mom, who hated me riding motorcycles, all of a sudden became the fans, right? They love the sport. They love what we do. They know we're here because this is what we love. And when there's that kind of energy, it doesn't matter if you're a motorcyclist or not, if you're a racer or just a rider. If you show up to one of these events, I guarantee you're having a good time. It's definitely fun. And it means a lot.
And I know you really love it, that part of it, because I listened to him for 10 minutes out there when I was out there on the fan walk. You trying to convince that little girl that if she hadn't picked a favorite yet, you had a perfect one for her right there.
That's it.
And I was...
I'm a pretty good salesman, but I don't think I could sell her that the Kawasaki was her favorite bike. I tried, though.
You were trying hard.
That's why you kept the purple on there?
I did, yeah. People like it. And actually, that was my thing. And now all of a sudden, you're seeing all this purple stuff popping up. I'm like, hey, dude, I want a nickel for every purple bike I see. Eventually, we'll get a set of tires out of that. But
well, so you guys were down there for the fan walk.
Yeah.
I know your pit's kind of far from the entry anyway. It's a little far off, but you still get decent coverage. People still come by.
Oh yeah. I wish we had those little things that show them on camera, but. Ton of kids, and it's not just kids either, but you get the men and the women that are down there walking around and enjoying it, and everybody seems the people that are involved, they'll have a favorite rider, or they'll just be a Kawasaki or Yamaha fan, right. Or the kids just geek out on seeing the whole thing, and there was one little girl when I first got down there. I was dealing with some things and I was a little late to the start of it, but Mike was talking to this little girl. She's probably 8 years old, and I could tell she just loved the bike. His bike is pink and green. I call it the watermelon warthog. And if you ever get a chance to get close to Mike's BMW, you'll see exactly why. But she's like, man, I could tell she was geeking out on the pink bike. And I walked up, and Mike was doing something, maybe signing something for her. And I was like, hey, you like the pink? She said, I love the pink, she said. I said, you want to sit on the pink bike? And she goes, her eyes light up, and And so as she's swinging her leg over, Mike grabs an umbrella, and he's like, I'll be your umbrella boy, and Mom's taking pictures, and that is cool, man. I just love that thing right there, and that's part of the reason, why we do everything we do. That's an extra step in our weekend that we don't need. We got enough going on to bring the equipment and the gear and take time out of our schedule to go down there and do that, but it's important to us to interact with the fans. And you know what? Sometimes when you're tired on the racetrack or things aren't going your way and it's hard to finish the job, that little girl is enough inspiration for us to go out there and push for 1 or 2 more laps to get to that checkered flag.
And you mentioned it's not just the kids. Me and Easton were walking out earlier, and there was a signed knee puck laying in the dirt that somebody had maybe dropped. And we thought it was the person in front of us. So Easton had picked it up and hey, the guy turned around and Easton gave it to him. And he's like, oh, and he just started telling us, you know what I got today? I got so-and-so signed this other knee puck and so-and-so, and he was so stoked. And he's like, why are these races so short? It's only one time a year. And it was a guy with his wife, and he was so stoked to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thought it was cool.
You know, and that's the thing too. Like, the Moto America series is only 10 rounds. I don't think most of us could afford to do 20 rounds.
Yeah, more rounds.
Yeah. But I mean, it would be cool if we had that. So, you know, I encourage anybody listening to this or whatever. I know you guys talk about it all the time. Go to a club event.
Absolutely.
You know, like, look up club racing. Like, you've done ASMA, which is in New Mexico and Arizona. I do the CVMA thing and the Utah thing, and I've done stuff in Colorado. Like, we all get around.
Yeah, all up and down the East Coast.
Yep.
There's CCS and ASRA, ASRA.
Yeah.
WERA, yep.
I guarantee if you bring your little kid up to me at a CVMA event and you go, I want to sit on your motorcycle, I ain't saying no.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you can sit on my motorcycle. You want to ride it? You'll probably go faster than me on it. Go for it.
Yeah, and you'll see some good racing in club racing. Like, there's guys who are risking it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's not as much red tape and not as many fences out there.
True story.
Yeah.
Not as much
Guys
money
can
to
show
get
their
in.
attitude a little bit more.
Yeah, and a club race, I mean, we like you said, we say it all the time, but the club races you can get in for free. You can come watch some high quality racing, but that's not to say that this is that expensive. Moto America is not.
As a spectator, yeah.
No, so I'd speak to that real quick. I brought a friend here this weekend, and he, I want to say he paid $40 for the weekend, right? Saturday and
That's
Sunday.
awesome.
And he said, he thanked me multiple times, including today. He's like, dude, thank you for inviting me. And I was like, yeah, man, sure. He's like, no, like, this is awesome. Like, he's been all over the museum corner, Charlotte's Web. He knows the track better than I do because he's been freaking everywhere today. And then to be able to go down to the pits and like show up at your guys' tent, like I said, go talk to Josh Herron, Jake Gagne. I mean, I've seen Jake Gagne go back and forth on his scooter. I'm like, hey, good luck, Jake. He's like, thanks, man.
Jake and his flip-flops.
Yeah, right, his shorts and whatever. Like, you can do that stuff. Moto America is awesome for that. Club racing, only better, honestly, and probably a lot closer to you guys, the listeners, the viewers. But it also brings me, I'm curious, specifically for privateer industries, I want to give you guys like a quick minute. You know, how can we, as viewers, as listeners, fans, whatever, how can we help you? I've seen some stuff on your shirt there.
We'll talk about that. I mean, you can go follow Ferg Factory on Instagram. Racer693 is Mike, myself, Lugnut_521. That's a personal way, like, just show your love, and you can catch a drift of a lot of the things that we're doing. Privateer.industries on Instagram also, so keep up with us on there. Now, we all have some individual supporters. You know, I've got a few things on my shirt here. Chris from Crossbeam Builders out of Utah. You know, we got Vortex and Galfer. Graves has done a lot of work on my motorcycle. Legal Ride in Nevada. Anybody listening from Nevada needs some legal assistance, Legal Ride. And then there's this one company. It's called Precision Fab Machinery. These guys make some killer equipment for manufacturing, and I happen to know a thing or two, and maybe somebody over there that they're a supporter of mine in the program this year. So the fans and the people listening, you know, support the sponsors, support the riders, and you don't realize how much a like, a follow, a share can go a long way. You know, like somebody sees a logo from one of our sponsors on Instagram post and goes and looks at it, and next thing you know, that sponsor gets a phone call and say, hey, I seen your logo here. I didn't realize that you guys do this. I'm actually looking for it, and that would be perfect. And next thing I know, I get a phone call saying, hey, I got this phone call because they seen your bike, and you know, that just reaffirms their investment in the program, right? And
That's what keeps them sponsoring people.
Absolutely. And then next year, maybe they come back and help us out again, because like I said, bigger and better next year, right? So that's one of the ways. Show up to an event, come say hi, come see us. I mean, the little stuff counts. On the racetrack, the little things equate to large success. Off the racetrack, the little things do the same exact thing for us.
Yep.
So
Same game.
Yeah.
Sweet. So can we dive into, I don't need numbers, I don't need exacts, but just for anyone out there that's thinking about maybe trying to do what you're doing, I would like to put the info out, at least in some degree, of like what does it actually take? And maybe you can speak to that a little bit, doing it last year with just your dad and you. Besides the like it's terrible having only one other guy there. I don't need a monetary value, but realistically, like, how much of your life are you taking away to come out and do this?
Well, I mean, it's a build-up before you come out here, right? So, like, what it takes out of your life, like, you got to put in the work before you come out here. You're going to be club racing for a while. You have to earn AMA points to even be out here. So even if you are a fast guy and you could make the grid with the times, you have to race at a club that's AMA sanctioned and make enough points. I can't remember the exact amount of points, but you have to make a certain amount of points by placing high enough in club races. So you got to put in that work first. You're going to be spending money there first, and then
Tires.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's your number one cost. No matter where you go in racing, tires is your number one thing. Once you actually come out here, I mean, you're looking at probably just entry fees, probably about 3 times the cost of a club race just for entry fees. I mean, depending on how competitive you want to be, you want to have fresh tires every single session, where in a club race, you know, you can do a couple practices on the same tires and maybe even qualify on those tires and you'll be all right. But out here, it's just not that way. So, you know, we got 1 practice, 2 qualifies, 2 race, so that's 5 sets of tires. So, I mean, you do the math, you know?
Yeah, okay.
So, but even then, like when you went to Pittsburgh,
Yeah, plus travel. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, driving across country depends how close the round is to you. You know, you live 20 minutes from Laguna Seca and you want to go do Laguna, great for you, you know, but you want to drive from Nevada or Arizona out to Alabama, that's a whole other thing.
yeah, I think that's 2 days off work and driving.
Yep.
And then Thursdays moving, you got to be here.
Yep.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the racetrack.
Then you're
And then
driving
2
home.
more days driving home. That's a lot of missed time in work. And then, you know, like you talked about numbers, we'll throw a number out there. But you could probably get away with doing a round for about $5,000 on a what do they call it? Shoelace? Shoestring budget.
I'm eating dry ramen, clean around.
Dude,
Like,
yeah, like Taco Bell, beefy 5-layer dollar menu, right? You know, and so yeah.
I've been waiting for a spot to put this anyway, but so when you start talking like that, though, it kind of comes back to, like, yeah, you could sleep on the ground right here in a tent, but maybe you're not worth a shit the next day because you slept on the ground, right?
Correct.
So you start to sacrifice other things if you're not treating yourself right.
Correct.
And I've mentioned, you know, shout out Josh Heron, I'm in the same hotel with him, right? And I'm eating my cinnamon roll.
Same bed?
No. I mean, I knocked on his door, but he didn't answer. So
waist up.
Waste up.
They can kind of reverse spoon.
Okay,
Oh, no,
all
not
right.
that at all, actually.
So I noticed something. Every morning his team, you know, they were all staying there, but every morning the Warhorse team, they're down there eating the same cinnamon rolls I was from the IHG, right? Loris Baz and Josh Heron weren't. They probably had some protein, some good diet, you know, because those guys are at that level where they're not putting garbage into their body and, you know, all those kind of things. So
I don't think people who don't do this don't realize, like, what it takes. Like, sure, like, you could be out of shape. I mean, I'm out of shape right now. I'm just going to be honest. You could be out of shape and you can come do this, especially if your body is, like, conditioned to be riding. But to really compete at the front of one of these grids, you're a finely tuned athlete, you know? Like,
Yeah, you have to be a specimen.
It takes a commitment, you know, months before you ever show up to this round. I mean, qualifying for the grid ain't easy. Try to win one of these things, you know? So it's definitely a chore. And, you know, to that case in point, and back to your question too, at the same time, like, you can't come out here and just, like, wing this show, right? Like, get yourself a good place, a nice place to sleep, get a good meal, and you get some good rest, and have the right people around you. And then it takes all that to even have a shot at being somewhat successful.
So how much did it mean to you, probably last year, but the first time you crossed, like, you actually got the checkered flag in your first Moto America race, like, compared to your first ever checkered flag, is that a step up?
Oh, yeah, it's a world of difference. I don't know if you ever seen that old picture of Nicky Hayden when he had the American flag with his dad and they're crying on the side of the... Yeah. That was dead ass
Strike
me.
one.
Oh. That was me and my dad in Park Forme. As soon as I rolled through and I saw my dad for the first time after doing my first professional race, like, we were both in tears. Like, and just the pride and being proud of it's huge. It's like so different.
And can I ask you, like, where you finished?
I think I finished 21st in my first race and I started like 25th or something, you know? So I was like back 2/3 of the grid. Like, there's 36 people in that race as well. So, like, but I did better in my first race than I did this weekend, you know what I mean? So a lot of that, you know, I blamed on pressure and stuff. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. It's a head game out there, you know? So you got to work through it. But yeah, I mean, even it doesn't matter where you finish, you know what I mean? Like you said, taking the checkered flag, like, it's a whole different ball game. And, like, Anthony and I both come from winning club races. Like I have 4 championships under my belt, winning like ASMA, Arizona, and New Mexico championships, and then I come here and it's like being in 20th is not something I'm used to.
Right.
But I'm still proud of it, like because I know the difference. And anyone who races motorcycles, like even club racers, we all know the difference here. You know what I mean? So we're just proud to be here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So to take it back to you, Lugnut.
The light changed. I need
Well, we get to see his eyes now.
Yeah.
There we go. Away from racing, I think, not to say that you guys didn't help out and everyone else didn't help out. I'm not trying to take anything away from your team, but I know you kind of started this and got the ball rolling maybe.
Absolutely.
As team head, like seeing Mike qualify and Mike finish both races.
Oh yeah.
Like how big is that and getting him out here and
Yeah, I mean it's huge. Like I probably my results sacrificed this weekend as well because I put so much forth energy into building the new transport rig for us as a team, putting people in places and like not so much once we got here, but leading up to it, right? That preparation that we talked about, it cost me today, a little bit. So now the first one's done. Now it's all going to be easier, right? Now we know what it's like. It's very important to me to make sure that the stage is set properly for Wyatt to be as successful as possible and Mike to be as successful as possible. And not to throw you under the bus, but in Q1 we were talking afterwards, and I'm like, man, Wyatt, like, we're this far away from making the show or not making the show. Like we gotta push. And it would have broke my heart, to not have them in the show. We came all this way, and I'm gonna do whatever I can. Again, we don't have all the resources, but I'm gonna do whatever I can to help the members of my team be successful, our team be successful. And this really is designed to be, a collaborative effort, right? So I put up a trailer, no big deal, right? But again, it takes an army. And we're building that army, and we got some good people around us, and so we're gonna definitely continue to progress, like I said earlier. And I will ensure that Wyatt and Mike become more and more successful in their Moto America careers as the year goes on, as well as find some time to do that for myself too.
So, sorry. Okay.
Happens. You're getting old now.
I'm just gonna
He
leave.
introduced himself as 18 earlier. You heard him.
Leave.
Yeah, well, he was pegged for 12 right before that.
It worked. Okay, I guess to transition a little bit into, we've talked, you made it through qualifying, we've kind of talked about how you guys did this weekend, but like Barber, what do you think about Barber? It's your first time here. Right?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, the facility, the museum is amazing, and then the track itself is, like, they call it, like I heard the announcer saying, like, this no-rest track in Alabama, like that is a perfect example. Like I wouldn't say this is some super high-speed track where there's long straights or anything like that. It's a technical track, and so you're putting in the work, but there's a lot of places to make passes, to make moves, to try to make up time. We were just saying earlier in the car, it's not too hard to go decently quick here, but man, is it hard to master this track and actually get up to a competitive pace. Is very difficult.
You went to, Pittsburgh last year?
Yep.
Because I know, like, this is my first time here also, and obviously I'm not racing, so it's a little bit different, but I've been to Road Atlanta, I've been to a couple other racetracks, and just seeing the facilities, like, this place is beautiful, minus the bugs. But, like, what was your first, like, rolling up as I'm going to race here? Is it daunting if it's a nicer, bigger, crazy track, or?
Yeah, I mean,
I
guess
no
it's
offense, CVMA for Anthony. I don't know where you race in Arizona, but like some of those places you pull up, you're like, yeah, okay, it's
middle of the desert.
yeah. There's nothing out here. Sweet, I'm in a racetrack, cool. But you pull up somewhere here, you got the big old glass building. Like, what is that like pulling up?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome. You kind of feel like you made it. You know what I mean? So it's a good feeling. Like, I mean, rolling in, it's seeing the crowd that's more of a shocker when you come in on Saturday, because a lot of times Thursday, Friday, people aren't here yet. It's practice. But you roll in on Saturday, you got one more qualifying session, then you're going to be racing in front of all these people. And that's a different little head change, but it's good. Okay. It's cool to see.
Or post-race, you roll in and people are applauding you, and the paddock's packed with people running around all crazy.
Yeah, your parade lap is that's a good thing to point out. So your last lap as you're coming in after the checkered is so different. In club races, you're just like, you're probably already thinking about how the race went, and you're probably dying from being tired. But on this, you come out and all of a sudden you finally look up from the track, right? And then just the whole way around, you're seeing people cross the bridge here, everything. And so seeing the whole way, people are waving at you. Like, we wave to corner workers in club races all the time. Yeah. And out here, the corner workers are waving us, and we wave back, right? But now you look up, and the whole crowd down the whole, your hands off the handlebar the whole time, you know? So that's awesome.
It's pretty awesome. You know, during the race, you don't see any of that. Like, I don't see any of the people.
Yeah, not a soul.
Just
tarmac.
black asphalt and
Yeah.
bright green grass.
Well,
which
that's
is
you
a big
guys'
change
problem.
for me.
Eyes up, remember?
Yeah. Look
Master.
at a bird.
Just look at the people,
Hey,
man.
Southwest
You'll be
Airlines.
fast.
Maybe that's my plane. Maybe I missed it. You know, but afterwards, you know, I come from the streets. So afterwards, to see all those people throw some wheelies, do a little stoppy action when nobody's looking, and yeah, it's pretty rad, man. It's cool. I think that's a big thing for me here at this track in particular, since you asked about Barber, is the grass. Atlanta was the same way last year. The Ridge can be that way if you get there early enough in the season. Like, we race in the desert most of the time.
Oh,
so it's
the
dirt.
fact that there's actually grass.
Oh, dude, it's so cool. I'm like, wow, dude, it's so pretty out. It's so green. But, you know, also it makes you a little timid sometimes because I don't know how the bike's going to react if I go a little too far into that corner and end up in the grass. I have no idea. I did it at Atlanta, but it's like, you know, maybe watch your P's and Q's a little bit. But.
Yeah, grass can be a little more slick than rocks. Like, rocks ain't great either, but you can dirt bike, you know what I mean? You know what you're doing.
Dirt's good, dude.
Yeah.
Those Dunlops stick in dirt, too. So you should try yourself a set of those, by the way.
Put the slicks on the dirt bike. Call it good.
Super motard.
So, I'm not trying to get your guys' full take, but there's trees out here too, like a lot. And that's something I
There's
noticed.
one.
Like, not to talk bad about Barber, we're gonna do a track review, so be watching out for that. But some of the spots you spectate from, you get like a good half of a turn, but then you lose the bikes because there's so many trees. Are there any corners out there that are like blind because of trees, or really just elevation that does that to you?
Maybe, I think it's kind of weird because I think at this track, the elevation, like turn 2 and turn whatever this long right-hander is, dude, it's got a jumping spider hanging out with me. But turn
It's okay,
whatever you
you're
call it,
animal people. So.
15. I am, that's why I'm allowing him to hang out.
Yeah.
Anyways, those two corners are elevation, but there's also trees. I don't think if the trees were gone, we'd be able to see through the corners anyways, but you'll see when you get on track, like tomorrow, that, hang out, bud. What should we call him?
No, just nut.
We'll call him Barbara. Cool.
He'll be Barber.
Yeah.
That's what we called the track like 10 times in our group chat on the way over here. Is auto text.
Yeah. They call me Thumbs because I can't send a text message to save my life. But yeah, I don't think the trees so much affect the vision as like the elevation and just the characteristics of the track. But you guys will see, super fun place to ride. It can be a little intimidating at times. I mean, the first one, you're trying to go 150 miles an hour into turn 1. You go to the brakes, you still don't see it. It's all downhill, and boom, all of a sudden there's a left-hand
Luckily,
corner there.
I'm not racing, so I get to relax tomorrow at first. Take it nice.
Cruise,
Just kind of
yeah.
Sunday cruise my way in on a Monday, you know.
So there's a difference for you from club racing or track days to Moto America. When you show up at Moto America round, you get 25 minutes practice. Yep. If you've never been to the racetrack before, you get 25 minutes to figure out which way is left and which way is right. And then all of a sudden you have to qualify. So not only does a guy like Wyatt show up, or Mike show up, or myself, even though I've seen this place before, show up for the first time in this racetrack trying to qualify for our nationals, but it's their first time in this racetrack, you know? And a lot of the guys we're racing against out there, they've been racing for 15 years at this racetrack.
This is a home track.
Yeah. And even not then, like a Stefano Mesa, I mean, he's been club racing and racing nationals for a long time. Who knows how long Cam Bobier and Jake have been doing it. Corey Alexander is 10 years younger than me, but has 10 years additional experience, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, it's quite a feat. But, sorry. Took a hard right there on you.
That's awesome. That's like the one thing that I was kind of thinking about earlier. I don't remember exactly what you said, but it was when you're talking about your parade lap, you know, compared to club racing. How many races in a day do you do club racing?
Oh, I mean, could be between, I'd say like the average probably around 3 to 6 in a day.
Okay,
you know?
so up to 6, which is like, well, once an hour, really, while the track's open.
Yeah.
Compared to how many times were we on track today?
Oh, twice. Yeah.
So
10
that's the other
minutes
thing
once.
we had weather this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I said there was going to be, and there was. Maybe not affecting it so much, but I know the temperatures were changing. You know, cloud cover was changing. So
Trying to take the #1 weatherman spot over there.
I'm going to start.
I'll tell you about the weatherman in a minute.
I mean, we've turned into a weather show. Right?
I know. I know. We're trying to knock that off, though. Remember?
Oh yeah, my bad. But
Hey,
anyway,
have you seen Supercross? Did you watch the last round? Oh, yeah, cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, what do you think about Jet
I think we
Lawrence?
should do a 15-minute segment.
We just started. Yeah.
I
So
think-
first round of nationals. Hold on, we'll go outdoors. Nationals, right? First round's at what, Paula?
Oh, man.
Yes, this show will continue to talk about dirt bike racing too. Not much more today, but it's gonna continue. Well, last episode when he said somebody yelled at him, I was one of those somebodies. Anyways, what were we talking about?
I know you threw me off with your freaking motocross. You're just all about dirt bikes now. You're over here telling me to put Dunlop slicks on my dirt bike and then motocross and supercross.
Yeah, why not? Motorcycles.
He's got to get to an airplane at some point, so
We got to go register for a track day.
we got to go register for a track day. So I would say, where can we see you guys next? When's the next race? I mean, I know you guys are coming to my hometown, right? You're coming?
Yep.
All right, I'm excited.
Oh man, now it's on.
Now it's
Now
on
it's
tape.
You
on.
ain't got no choice.
You
Yeah.
can't get out
I was,
now.
I was scumbagging Wyatt into coming, but now it's official.
It's official.
So
That's good.
I'll lead you with that. So the rig is, we do live in different towns, so the rig is going back through Vegas, like I said earlier. Wyatt will voyage again to Utah, as will I. So next weekend we'll be racing Utah SBA, and then I think it's about 2 weeks out from there, maybe 3. We end up in Brainerd, Minnesota, which you were able to join me there last year. Yep. It's a fun spot. Any of you guys listening from Minnesota, make sure you come out. It's more than motorcycles. They had monster trucks and
Yeah,
Ski-Doo
and snowmobiles
races.
on water and Arnie Palmers and
Palmers and water slides.
and water slides.
Water slides. Yeah, since when have you seen a Holiday Inn with a water slide?
And let me go back to the Utah thing. This is the opportunity for the listeners from Utah to come out and watch 2 Moto America racers certified at a club
Official.
race.
Yeah.
And probably dominate. I don't want to put any vibes out there, but
I'm not gonna
be
say
better.
that, man.
Hey,
Like,
you're on the
honestly,
podcast now. You have to do good, right? We only have good riders. on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Stop. No sucking allowed anymore for anybody. Yeah, anybody. I don't know about dominate, man. There's always fast guys, and that's what's cool about going and watch a club race, right? Like, there's always somebody to push you. Usually, like I remember when I first got bumped from amateur to expert, I was like, I had 2 weekends under my belt, and Dustin Coyner was like, "You're an expert," and I'm like, freaking out. And he was like, "Well, what do you want to do? You want to beat up on the new guy, or do you want to actually go learn something?" It's like there's always someone to race with, even if it's at the back of the expert pack or whatever. If you're thinking about getting into racing, just know no matter how fast you are, there's an opportunity and there's a battle buddy on the grid right now waiting for you to join. Yep. So come out and watch at Utah. Come find me. Come find Wyatt. Talk to us about our individual adventures and how we got to where we are. We'll help you find your way as well.
Right. Anyone else that you want to shout out or call out?
Nope. I mean, thanks for having me on. I mean, this is cool. I hope I get to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
One more thing for me, if you don't mind. I'd like to thank Nick, Johnny, Jerry, your father,
Yeah, I gotta thank my dad.
Stacy, Sean, who came out, both of you guys for supporting. We had a lot of help in our corner. Will, forgot about Will. Love you, Will. We had a ton of support in our corner this weekend, and they're going to be traveling around with us for the season. Real special shout out to those guys, because honestly, we wouldn't have even be able to do what we did without them this weekend. So
Perfect. Send us out.
Sweet. Well, hey, while you're here, if you could show us your sleeve real quick, your shirt, go check those guys out. If you have anything to do with motorcycle racing or precision sheet metal equipment, or you need legal action down in Nevada, Crossbeam Builders.
Utah, build a custom home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go check them out. Honestly, the sponsors do. I know for you guys, the sponsors do a lot, and even the big boys. If you don't want to follow these guys, okay, you should. But that's how it be sometimes. But go check out the sponsors and what they do, and see if you can help them out, so they can keep helping out our guys and keep our sport alive. With that, I'll wish you guys the best of luck next week at USBA, and even more luck for Brainerd. Not that you need more luck, but I want you to do real good. I'll be watching you on TV, and Cole's gonna be there.
I hope so. We'll see.
So, anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
See you guys in the next round.